from scoring the winner in a cup final.
Koundé onto it to maybe win the Copa del Rey. Koundé with a killer effort.
To not creating chances at all. From being one of the best right backs in the world to being one of the worst. What the hell happened with Jules Kounde? Aged well. Koundé has just looked off this season. His body language looks like a player who doesn't want to be on the pitch. Some people were saying that he's tired of playing right back and he wants to go back to center back, but that didn't make any sense to me. Koundé just had the best season of his life playing as a fullback. On top of that iconic goal in the Copa del Rey final, he also got a hat-trick of assists in one match.
Koundé once more. Oh, what a ball! Oh, he and Koundé wreaking havoc down this right side. And that's a fabulous strike. Lewandowski waiting. It's cut back instead for number 5.
He had fully embraced the right back position, forming a really nice partnership with Yamal. The two of them absolutely dominated the right hand side. In fact, Koundé was now racking up assists and goals for fun. We're not talking about just scoring headers from corner, but rather goals from open play like a traditional right back. The hat-trick of assists that he got against Red Star really reflected how far he had developed as a player. You go back to the 2023 version of Koundé or the 2024 version of him, and they're not pulling this off. A big part of that is of course the tactics of Hansi Flick. Barca play way more direct now, which means everybody's able to create more opportunity.
A major congrats also to the coach. I think the team understand very well how the coach wants to play.
But Koundé had also worked very hard to improve his technical qualities. Even Flick had raved about the Frenchman's work ethic.
It's unbelievable. I never had this before because after the match he wanted to train. They said, okay, come on, today only treatment. No, I won't be on the pitch, and it's unbelievable because he's absolute professional about his body, about everything, and yeah, also it's good to see that he wants to improve, and every training he tried to give the best, and it's fantastic.
It wasn't just empty words either, cause Flick literally played Koundé in pretty much every game possible. At one point, the man had played 104 games in a row for both club and country. The only time he hadn't started was because he was late for a team meeting. Probably was late because he took too long picking out the right outfit. We know how this guy's fashion sense is.
What the fuck is this?
Last year, he was one of the best right backs in the world when it came to the defensive side, which makes sense given that he used to be a center back. His agility and strength made him a brick wall. But this season, it's like I'm watching a completely different guy. He had one really good game against Newcastle where he looked like the 2025 version of himself. He looked comfortable on the ball and even got the assist for Rashford's first goal.
Koundé. Rashford with the header 1-0. And in front of the England manager, Marcus Rashford scores his first Barcelona goal.
But other than that match, he's looked a shadow of himself. Now, nobody's expecting this guy to play like Dani Alves every single game. Whenever you play a center back at fullback, everyone knows that that guy is going to be limited going forward. The assists and goals are nice, but they aren't the minimum expectation. As long as he plays simple and finds Yamal and makes some good overlapping runs, he's done his job on the attacking end. That's the benefit of playing right behind the best player in the world.
But yeah, I think we understand each other pretty well. Lamine is very easy to play with.
But the one thing that can absolutely never happen when you're a center back playing at fullback is you cannot, and I repeat this, you cannot be a defensive liability. You cannot be getting beaten easily by opposing attackers. And you cannot be switching off out of possession. That's been the biggest issue with Koundé. At his best, he's a rock. At his worst, it's like playing with a man down. The issue that I have noticed with Koundé is that in the short time he's been at Barca, he's never been able to rack up consecutive good seasons. He arrives in 2023, plays really well. In fact, that back line of him, Araujo, Christensen, Balde, and Ter Stegen was the biggest reason Barca won the league that year. That was a crazy year. First time ever I was seeing Barca grind out 1-0 results. Defensively, they were more solid than the Dwarves at Yamal's party, and a big reason for that was Koundé. But then the next season, Koundé didn't play well. In fact, he was one of Barca's worst performers. And the interesting part is that his worst performance that season came when he played where he wanted to play, at center back. He was the starting center back when Madrid destroyed Barca in the Spanish Super Cup final, and the Frenchman was at fault for many of their goals. But then he followed up that poor season with the best season of his life. He was massive for Barca as they won 3 trophies. I mean, it was his goal that literally won Barca the Copa del Rey. But again, after a great season has come a bad one. Is it fatigue? As I showed you guys earlier, he has played a ton of games for both club and country in the past year. Add in the fact that Flick's style is so intense, and it makes sense that Koundé might just be exhausted. Him getting injured proves that. Now, as much as this video is focused on Koundé, realistically, nobody in the back line has looked good this season. The high line has been getting exposed more, mainly because of the lack of pressing on the ball, which makes everyone in the back four look shaky. So it's not just a Koundé thing, but he has definitely looked the worst among all the options. Now you can make the argument that his inconsistency over the years just matches how the team has been performing that season. When the team does good, he does good. And when the team does bad, he does bad. Now that is true, but there have been other players who have performed well when the team has been doing bad. Take Eric Garcia, for example, who's been playing really well despite Barca not being good defensively as a team. So while I agree that the team as a whole underperforming has impacted Koundé's individual performances, that doesn't explain why he looks clumsy on the ball again. That doesn't explain the defensive lapses. I mean, he made Vinny look like Neymar, and then I saw Connor Bradley put Vinny in his back pocket. You're telling me this guy locked up Vinny when he was a Ballon d'Or candidate, but now when every single wingback locks up the Brazilian, Koundé can't? I don't buy that. Is it maybe time for Flick to try him at center back? I mean, I always found it weird that a club at the level of Barca would use a center back at fullback. I grew up watching Dani Alves there, and now I'm watching a central defender trying to get out of tight spaces. Seems like utter woke nonsense to me, but hey, the club won multiple trophies with Koundé at right back. So who am I to say that strategy is wrong? You know what I'm not wrong about though? Telling you where to get your Barca jersey from. Go to buygamejerseys.com, pick a Barca jersey, then use code PETTALKS at checkout for a discount. It's funny that Koundé is now a starting right back for both club and country, because when he was at Sevilla, he had emerged as one of the most accomplished central defenders in La Liga. There were times where he would cover at right back when Jesus Navas was not available, but he was a center back. His partnership with Diego Carlos was one of the best partnerships in the league. So when Koundé arrived at Barca, he was seen as a super promising signing. He was 23, already one of the best defenders in La Liga, and the hope was that he would solve one of Barca's biggest problems on the pitch, which was their defense.
I think there's a lot of pressure on him, for sure. This is a very important season, but especially the start of it.
But immediately, Koundé was asked to play a different position. With Araujo and Christensen already playing at a top level, Xavi decided to put Koundé at right back. It made sense given that Koundé played most of his youth football as a right back. Even at Sevilla, he was described as an untraditional center back. Standing at 5'10", he was shorter than your typical center halves, and his ability on the ball was very impressive. He rarely gave the ball away in possession. His short passing accuracy was super high, and his 1.3 carries into the final third per 90 minutes put him in the top 5% of La Liga's central defender. Of course, Barca didn't need stats to know how good Koundé was on the ball. Look at the goal he scored against them in the Copa del Rey.
Bola a chegar ainda, grande pormenor, atenção ao Sevilha, remate e golo! Marca o Sevilha, minuto 25, grande pormenor de Koundé, o central vai lá à frente, já tinha ameaçado há pouco, e agora coloca mesmo o Sevilha.
Playing him at right back ended up being the right call from Xavi. As I told you guys earlier, in the 2022-2023 season, Barca had the best defense in La Liga and one of the best in Europe. In 21 La Liga games, they had 16 clean sheets, conceding just 7 goals. When Koundé, Araujo, and Christensen played together, Barca conceded only 1 goal, and that goal was Koundé scoring an own goal. Despite him not playing in his preferred position, Barca were flying. Koundé's athleticism and tackling made him excellent against one-on-one dribbler. In El Clasico, he completely locked up Vinny, who at the time was in incredible form. He was already one of the best tacklers in the league at center back, and now at right back, wingers really struggled to get by him. His ability to cover space and track back quickly gave Barca a lot of defensive solidity on the right side. When Barca pulled a 1-0 masterclass against Atletico, a big part of it was due to Koundé's defending. At the end of that season though, Koundé had made it very clear both publicly and privately to Xavi that he wanted to go back to center back.
You've been playing a lot of games as a fullback, you feel more comfortable maybe as a center back. How is your present? How do you see yourself in the next games here in Barcelona?
I will not make any comment on that matter.
For him, it was the position that he felt the most confident in. And it made sense. Towards the end of that season, his form had dipped slightly from fatigue as he was constantly relied on. Combine the domestic games and how much he played for France, and you could see that he was being overplayed. Maybe a common theme as to what we're seeing now. The other thing is that while he was incredible on the ball for a center back, as a fullback he was somewhat limited. He wasn't a natural overlapper, and he didn't provide much width. His crossing and final third decision making were also inconsistent, which limited Barca's attacking patterns on the right. I mean, the man had just 1 assist in La Liga. But in the summer transfer window, strengthening the fullback position was not a priority for Barca. With La Liga spending restrictions, the club was more desperate to fill the void left by Busquets rather than upgrading a position where they felt they were already strong. Xavi was quite happy with how the Koundé-Ousmane Dembele partnership was blossoming down the right, so he spoke to Koundé and convinced him to accept this. It was a sacrifice in order to help the team become better. But everything changed when Dembele moved to PSG. With the wages freed up, Cancelo became an option on loan, and Xavi liked the idea. Koundé, of course, let out a sigh of relief. The team finally had a natural right back, meaning he could stop filling in there and move infield to his natural position, center back. In the early parts of the 2023-2024 season, it looked good. Koundé was excellent at center back, showing his composure on the ball and dominance in duel. He even scored a flying header against Osasuna. But that honeymoon period came to a quick end. While Barca were undefeated, the defense was simply not as good as it was in the previous season. There were obvious defensive issues when Cancelo played out there with Balde on the left.
And I imagine you're going to pick on poor old João Cancelo. Who you're going to say is part of the problem, not part of the solution.
But you know what I think anyway, I've said it many times, I think defensively he unbalances your team because this is not why he doesn't like defending, he's not a good defender.
Both fullbacks love to attack, but that made the team look shaky defensively when they played together. What also didn't help were Koundé's own poor performances at the heart of the defense.
I don't want to pick on Koundé, but I think it's obvious that he's not on the level he was at when he was at Sevilla, or maybe even at the start of his kind of Barcelona journey.
Like I said, that Super Cup final was a really bad performance, but that wasn't the only one. Then during this bad period came the emergence of Pau Cubarsí. The La Masia graduate ticked every box when it came to what Barcelona would want from a center back, so he took over that starting position. In a year in which the club needed to make more than one big sale to boost its finances, Koundé began to be positioned as a likely candidate to leave at the end of the season. His poor performances, combined with the potential market he still had, pushed him into the shop window. With rumors of his exit circulating, his performances began to dip even more. He seemed too passive and kept making individual mistakes. Now, many players might have given up, just thrown in the towel and waited for the transfer. But with his Barca career on the line, Koundé began working extra hard. According to The Athletic, he began training on post-match days to improve his fitness. He even began to work with the coaching staff to improve his technical ability to be able to adapt to any position that was needed from him. His hard work was evident in his performance against Las Palmas, which was Barca's first La Liga game back from the international break in the 2024 season. Ever since that match, Koundé returned to his best. Then when Flick arrived, his game went to another level. Flick's direct style of play made it easier for Koundé to go forward. Then defensively, the high line was perfect for Koundé because he was so athletic. Then on top of the tactical shift, Koundé just continued to train and work incredibly hard. I mean, look at this clip of him running through the streets of the United States with a Barca polo shirt on in the pouring rain during their summer preseason tour. This is a guy who goes to the gym first thing in the morning and regularly posts videos on social media of his exercises when he returns to Barca in the early hours after an away game. If history has taught us anything, it's that whenever Koundé has a bad run of form, he almost always follows it up with playing the best football of his career. Yes, he loves wearing ridiculous things in fashion, but he's also a hard worker. Flick still believes in him, and some rest might be all Koundé needed to focus up again. You don't just go from being one of the best right backs in the world to the worst one overnight. His journey though is a great reminder to fans and footballers about the importance of sacrifice. This guy was one of the most sought after central defenders in the world. Literally every club wanted him. Most people thought he would go to Chelsea, but he decided to join Barca with the promise of being a starting center back. Yet he ended up playing in a role that he wasn't a big fan of, but he did it because he knew it was better for the team as a whole. Even during the lowest point of his Barca career, he didn't give up. He's in a similar position again, and I don't see him throwing in the towel at all. He's a very hardworking player, and I'm sure he will be back to his best